Welcome to today's weighted workout. Now for this workout, you will need a chair that you can stand up from. So if you do need to make any modifications to the chair, meaning adding a cushion, finding a chair with arms, whatever that may be, make sure you have that. And then you will also need a set or two of weights. I always recommend having at least 2 sets, as some movements you may be able to go up in weight, other movements you may have to go down a little bit in weight, and that is totally okay, but it's good to have some options. Okay, so today we're going to be doing a full body strengthening. The whole goal of this level is to get strong. So we're going to be challenging a lot of different strengthening movements. Now, the great thing about these movements in particular is you can make them easier or harder a lot of times by manipulating the weight that you're using. So I always recommend erring on the side of a lighter weight to start with, and then as you move through this a few more times, you can up the weight as needed. We just want to make sure that we're not going to flare up any pain, especially if some of these movements are new to you. Pause the video at any point if you do need a rest break. We are going to go ahead and get started. We're just going to go into our regular march just to start to get that blood flowing. Start to maybe raise that heart rate up a little bit. And then now we're going to just take those marches, same movement, but now we're moving side to side. Few steps one way, few steps the other way. Start to warm up those hips, especially the outsides of those hips. Slow it down or speed it up, whatever you're feeling today. And now I just want you to take a couple steps forwards and a couple steps backwards. Just make sure you're not going to hit anything behind you. But we're just going a few. I just want you to warm up the backs of those legs. Get that blood flowing, start to work some of that ankle mobility. 3, 2, and 1. Speaking of mobility, we are going to do just a few quick movements. I'm going to flip my chair around so I have the back of it for support. Okay, even if your balance is great, I do recommend for these couple of movements that you do have a chair. Okay. So I'm going to stagger my stance. My right foot's going to be in front, okay? Now, both legs are relaxed, not necessarily bent. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean into the front one and try to move my knee as far forward as you can. Now, I like using the chair for this one because you're offloading some of that weight. So you're not pushing all of your weight through that knee. You have support. So now we're just really trying to get some movement in that knee. That back leg can absolutely come up. But essentially we're looking at 2 things. 1, knee bending, and 2, ankle bending. So you want to keep that heel of the front foot on the floor. That back one can come up. I'm just pressing forward and then coming back. Pressing forward and then coming back. Just really working that ankle. This ankle mobility in particular is useful for stairs, squats, etc. So we want to make sure that that's moving properly. Let's switch sides. Like I said, I want you to use the chair for some support of weight. Now, if you want to, you can try it without and just see how it feels. You may feel some pressure in the knee, which is okay, but you may also feel some pain. And if it's significant pain, use the chair. Do not be afraid to use arm support. I'd rather have you get more mobility with less weight through your leg than really struggle to only get a little bit. 3, 2, and then last one. Okay, I want to just move into a few hip hinges, and if you're beyond the chair for this one, that's great. But if you still need the chair, what you're going to do is just hold on to it as you sit your hips back, feeling a nice stretch through the backs of your legs. Use those glutes, those butt muscles to stand up. I'm reaching back with my hips. My weight is towards my heels, but I'm not like actually lifting my toes. Okay, my full foot stays on the floor. Sit your hips back. This is what it looks like without the chair. And as I've mentioned before, you can use a wall. and reach your hips, touch back, and then stand up. But the biggest thing is feeling a stretch through the backs of your legs, using your glutes to squeeze yourself back up. Just 2 more. And then last one. Excellent. Okay, last thing I want you to practice, we're just going to do a few up and down just in a heel raise. I do like using a chair for this one because I'd like you to get maximum height versus only getting up a little bit but having to fight balance, okay? So get those repetitions up as high as you can and then come back down. These last 3, I want you to try to come down as slowly as you can. So you're gonna come up and then 1, 2, 3, back down if you can. 1 more and then 1, 2, 3. Now, what I want you to do is try a single leg calf raise. This will be in a test a little bit later, but I want to introduce it now just to see how it feels for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my right leg in front. I'm either going to tap my toes back behind me, or you can actually lift it up. Wherever you're at as far as tolerating a lot of weight on that one single leg. But I'm going to raise up and then come down. Raise up and then come down. Now notice my back foot stays on the floor and it's just very lightly touching, okay? So I'm doing most of the lifting with this front leg. Now, of course, to make it harder, actually lift that leg off the floor. You're still trying to get max height. Let's just do 1 more here and then switch. I just want you to get a little taste for this. Okay, so either that foot's all the way off the floor in the hardest variation, or those toes are just touching as I'm lifting. Kind of a little bit of an awkward movement if you're keeping that back foot down, but that's okay. Just get used to the movement itself. Because together, your heel raises might feel okay, but single leg, you might start to see a difference, okay? Last one on this side. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to turn my chair around just to prepare for the exercises coming. We're just going to do a little bit of an upper body warm up. So I want you to grab light weights. I'm talking like 1 to maybe 5 pounds. 5 pounds on the heavier side of things. I'm using a set of 3s. Okay, so what I want you to do is you're just going to pull back into a row. Notice my knees are soft. My hips are back. My chest is up, so I'm looking at a diagonal almost in front of me instead of straight down. Drive those elbows back. And we're just holding here. Think about pushing the weight back towards your heels. And think about those glute muscles. Think about those muscles in the backs of your legs. We're getting those to fire here as well. We're staying here for about 10 more seconds, and then we're going to go into just a quick tricep movement. Make sure you're breathing through all of this. 3, 2, and 1. Now you're going to stand all the way up, take those palms facing back behind you, and we're just going to pulse back. Now I want you to do a shoulder check. Relax your shoulders. Okay? Try not to have them hunched up here. Relax your shoulders so they're away from your ears. Just a light pulse. You'll feel this probably in the backs of your arms. Perhaps not immediately, depending on how heavy your weights are. But notice I'm just pulsing back behind my hips, so I'm not coming forwards and back like this. It's a purposeful keep those weights back. You'll feel more muscle tension that way. Your muscles will be working harder that way. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now I want you to bring those weights up near your face at this kind of 90-90 position. Okay, and I want you to hold them there. Now from here, you're going to lift an opposite leg, and I'm going to straighten one arm at a time. So it's going to look like this. I'm lifting and pressing. Other side, lifting and pressing. Lifting and pressing as the other arm is holding it there. This is to warm up the core. Get those muscles working a little bit. I want you to think about using your stomach muscles to pull up your leg versus using your hip. Even if you just think about it, it can be really helpful. We're also warming up balance. Keep those elbows up if you can. That's harder. Drop them down so you get a rest in between if you need to. We have 8 more. 8, 7, Exhale on the way as you press up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Excellent. Now we're going to go just into a quick balance movement, one foot in front of the other, and I am just going to swing those light weights back and forth. If you need to widen out your feet, you can, but I would really try to focus on keeping your feet as in line as you can, especially since we're in level 3. We're really taking and turning everything up a notch. 3, 2, and 1. Other side. So just switch the orientation of your feet and then lightly swing once you feel comfortable. If at any time you need to drop the weights, if at any time you need support, feel free to take it. There's no sense in rushing through this workout to flare up your pain just to say you made it through. Okay, take this at your own pace. 3, 2, and 1. All right, now I would like you to grab a heavier set of weights if you have the option. Right now I'm using 10s. Usually the heavier set, now of course this is going to depend on your fitness level, but it's anywhere between, I would say, 5 to 15 pounds, okay? We're going to go into a deadlift, just like the hip hinge that we did in the beginning. Those weights, think about them being glued to your legs. They do not leave your legs. Those weights are riding down my legs as my knees are relaxed and as I sit my hips back. You should be looking in front of you, not right down below. And then you're going to come up. Come down just to about the knee and stand up. If you're used to the deadlift and feel confident with it, one way to make it harder is to go down lower. I would say it wouldn't go much lower than like middle of your shin. Squeeze those glutes, squeeze those butt muscles, and then stand up. You should not feel this in your back. If you do feel this in your back, I want you to imagine you have a pole that's behind your neck and it goes down to your bottom. And I am moving in one plane. I am moving as one versus rounding my back this way. Okay? Come down to those knees, push your weight through your heels, and stand up. This one people can usually do a little bit of a heavier weight once you get used to the movement and feel good. Feel this in your butt muscles and in the backs of your legs. We have 5 more. 4. Try not to overextend at the top. You're just coming straight up. 3, 2, and last one. Okay, now I actually want you to take those heavy weights and we're going into a march. I want you to roll those shoulders back. Keep them there. Think about your core, meaning we're not sticking straight out like this. Give a little squeeze to those glutes. Keep a nice, good posture. We're just going to increase the heart rate a little bit. Then we're going to challenge those legs. Excellent work. Keep breathing. Feel those stomach muscles. Nice little squeeze in those glutes to keep you from here to here. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now we're going to take it to the chair. For this one, I encourage you, especially if this is your first time through, no weights. Okay? The test at the end of this phase is actually going to be a 60-second timer where you're going to see how many times you can stand up and down. So that's what we're going to practice today. Not so much the time, but just the actual movement itself. So as I stand up, I want you to think about taking your knees out, and I'll show you from the front just so you can see. I want you to think about pushing those knees out to the side. Notice my feet don't flare out, okay? As I stand up, those knees go out. As I sit down, they do the same thing. Okay, so I want you to think about that. I'm gonna give us about 30 seconds or so. And I just want you to gently try to stand up and sit down in a controlled manner. So I want you to think up fast, sit down slow, okay? So we have about 30 seconds. I just want to see how many you can do. This isn't quite a race nor a test, so I just want you to see what feels good. If this is your second or third time through this, or you feel really comfortable with chair squats, feel free to grab one weight and hold it at your chest. I'm doing the same thing, standing up and sitting down slow, okay? 10 seconds left. Just get some blood through those arms, through those legs. Don't sleep on using the arms. Just because you use arms does not mean you're weak or you're doing it wrong or you're not getting the benefit. The benefit is if you can stand up, you are getting benefit, okay? I don't care how you get there right now. And 1. Okay. Now, I do want to grab one lighter, so we're going to go into an overhead position. So grab a weight accordingly. A lot of times that is a little bit lighter weight than you can handle for some lower body movements, and that's okay. I have that weight in my right hand, okay? And I'm going to straighten my left leg, okay? This is going to be a core movement, and we're also gonna work the arm and the leg at the same time. 3 birds, 1 stone. Okay. What I'm going to do with this arm is I'm going to press up. Now, if overhead does not feel good, you can press kind of straight out at a diagonal. Then, at the same time, I'm going to take this leg and I'm going to lift it up in a straight leg position. Now, if this straight leg position causes pain in the front of your hip or does not feel good, what I'd like you to do is as I press, I'd like you to just kick straight out. You're still going to be working that front of that hip, but not in a way that's going to be this movement, okay? So choose which variation works for you. You can absolutely work towards a straight leg raise, but we're not flaring up pain. Weights in my right hand, left leg is extended. We are doing 12 and then switching to the other side. Be aware of your posture here. We're not rounded back and we're also not arching forward. Here we go. Raise up and lift. 1, 2, use that core. Don't let yourself fall back. 3, if you need to, kick that leg out. 4, 5. Make sure you're breathing. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, last one, and 12. Go ahead and switch to the other side. The weight goes in the left side, and now I'm going to straighten that right leg out. Here or here, okay? Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, sit up nice and tall. 3, 4. Remember, you can also kick it out. 5, 6, 7, 8, almost there. 9, 10, 11, and 12. Excellent. Okay, drop those weights for a second. We are going to finish in the chair for right now with just 8 standing up and down, okay? Feet, again, about hip width apart. 8 up and down. You can grab a weight if you want to. Ready? Here we go. Standing up fast, taking those knees out. Sitting back down. There's 1. Up and down. 2, all the way to 8. You got this. 3, use your hands if you need to. Modifications are not a sign of weakness. I'd rather have you do all 8 and have them feel good than do 8 barely with increasing pain. Okay, I already lost count. Let's do 3 more. 3, 2, last one, and stay standing on this one. Excellent. Okay. Now, we are going to actually go back into those deadlifts, okay? Remember, that was the movement here where I'm sitting my hips back and then squeezing up tall. Grab your weights accordingly. I'm going to be using my 10s on this one, but please use lighter weights if you do not necessarily feel the most confident with this movement right now. Okay, Weights are glued to your legs. I'm relaxing my knees, sitting my hips back, coming to about the knee, squeezing the glutes and standing up. Remember, if you're not sure about your form, stand in front of a wall, maybe about a step or two away, reach back and then come up. Reach back and then come up. And then the further away you are from the wall, the further you have to reach back. Yes. Remember, there's a pull from your head down to your tailbone. So you're moving all at once. Let's do 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, and then last one. Excellent. Keep holding on to those heavier weights, and if you did use a lighter set for the previous movement, the deadlifts, I encourage you to grab a heavier set. You're going to roll those shoulders back, relax them down, get a little squeeze in those glutes, and go into that march. I would challenge you to use a heavier set here. You're starting to challenge your grip strength. So you may feel like in your forearms, feel those muscles working too. Relax your shoulders. Just another reminder, 20 seconds left. Take the march as slow or as fast as you can. But it's mainly just focusing on that shoulder position. Don't let yourself round forward. Don't stick your chest way out. We're somewhere kind of in between there. 3, 2, and 1. Excellent work. We're going to actually drop these weights, and I want you to grab one lighter set, or one lighter weight. All right, I am going to move my chair a little bit further out of the way for this one. Okay, I'll show you so let's start with the weight in the left hand. My right foot's going to be in front, and my left foot is going to come back. I'm going to show you this, and you can start with a lighter weight and then pick up a heavier one if you're feeling pretty good with this. All right, I'm in the staggered stance. My knees are just relaxed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that weight back towards my hip, come down, bring my knee up. Pull that weight back towards my hip, and then bring my knee up into a march. Pull back, come up. Pull back, come up. Now, these are separate movements, so I'm finishing this movement first, then starting the next one. Pull back. Now, if this march is not comfortable for you, it can look like this. Just step forward, okay? Pull back, step forward. Pull back and march. We have 8 more. Pull back, 8. 7, works balance too. 6, pull that weight back, not up. 5, 4, keep that shoulder down. 3, 2, one more, and last one. Go ahead and switch that weight other side. So now my left foot's in front, my right foot's behind, and my weight's in my right hand. I'm pulling back into that row, coming up into the march, okay? Pulling back into that row or stepping forward and coming back. Pull back, come up. Pull back, come up. This one, I would challenge you, if you do want to make this harder, grab a heavier weight, okay? Pull back, come up. Working that balance on the leg that's actually not moving because you're then standing on one leg. Feeling it in the backs of those legs, in maybe the thigh muscle. All right, we have 8 more. 8. Use support if you need it. 6. Pull back, not up. 5. 4, keep that shoulder down. 3, 2, and last one. Excellent work. Okay, now let's grab the other accompanying weight to the lighter set, or grab your lighter set if you were using a little bit of a heavier weight. Okay. Weights are going to be down at your sides, palms are facing out. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is you're going to curl up and bend one knee. Curl up and then bend the other knee. I'll show you what it looks like from the side. I'm curling and I'm just bending that knee, really challenging some of that knee bending. Now, of course, you can absolutely increase the weight on this one. Just try to straighten your arm all the way before you start the other one. So it's not like this, okay? It's controlled. So if you want to make this harder, don't add speed, add weight, okay? Curl up. Then we start to incorporate a little bit of balance, also single leg strength, just because now all my weight's on my right, now all my weight's on my left, okay? Keep going, it's gonna get that heart rate going a little bit too. Let's do 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now I want you to hold these weights at this 90-degree position. This one's going to be a little tougher, so you may need a little lighter set depending on how you're feeling right now. Little pulses, up and down. I like to kind of just shift my weight as I do this. You don't necessarily have to move your legs. You can just stand in one position, but if you are just standing in one position, don't lock your knees out, okay? Try to keep them a little bit more relaxed. 3, 2, and 1. Now you're turning those weights so that your palms are facing each other now, and we're actually going to take them down and up together. I'm bringing them up towards my shoulder and then coming back down. Now, if you want to add in a component with the legs, you can. As I bring those weights up, I'm kicking one leg out. Adds a little bit of balance. Again, I wouldn't add speed to this, I'd add weight. If you want to make it more challenging. 10, 9, make sure you're breathing. 8, exhale as you bring that leg up and bring those weights up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Okay, now let's go ahead and grab one heavier weight. We're going to finish off with a balance movement and then we'll cool it down. Okay, I want you to go into a balanced position, preferably pointing those toes back behind you and standing on one leg. Now, if you can master the standing on one leg, absolutely do that. We are going to add some movement to this, so I'm just adding this as an option. Okay, now, the first movement is just going to be passing this weight back and forth, okay? Now, I do challenge you to use a little bit of a heavier weight. The heavier the weight, the harder this will be, especially since we have already done some other movements to fatigue out the legs. Now, I will challenge you. Go ahead and set that down for a second. We're going to stay on this side, and I'm going to show you one variation to make this a little more challenging, okay? As I pass the weight to my right hand, I'm going to look towards my right. As I pass my weight to my left hand, I'm going to look to my left. Right, left. Now you may notice that foot is extra wobbly, okay? So that's one way to make it more challenging. We're going to do one more set on this side, and then we'll switch to the other one. Okay, so you can add in the head turn one way and then the other, okay? If you just want to focus on here, that is okay too. 10 more seconds and then we're going to switch sides. Remember, you can keep those back toes down. 3, 2, and switch. I have a lot of people who end up mastering this dumbbell pass, I like to call it. So for those of you that have, add that head turn. Just see how you do. You may need to go down in weight at first, and that's okay. Let's start on the other side, just passing back and forth. add that leg in the air if you can, so you're in a single leg stance, or you can just keep those back toes on the ground for a little bit more support, depending on how fatigued you're feeling. 10 seconds, and then for the second round, you can add that head turn if you want to. 3, 2, last one. All right, so you can shake it out for a second. We're gonna go right back to that stance. Now you can add that head turn one way and then the other. Something definitely to practice, and it can be difficult, even just simply adding head movements or taking your vision away by closing your eyes. We'll get to that in some later videos. 15 more seconds. Make that hip work, make that foot work. Make sure you're breathing. 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and set that weight down. I am going to turn my chair again like how we started. We're going to do a couple movements standing, and then we're going to actually sit down for the last one. Okay. I want you to go back to that knee moving forward like we did in the beginning. So my feet are staggered, my right foot's in front. I'm using the chair. I'm just bending my leg forward and then coming back. That back foot can come up, but I don't want that front heel coming off the ground. Just bring your knee as far forward as you can and as far as is comfortable. We're not pushing into significant pain. We're just doing one more here. And then switch. So now I'm bringing my left foot forward. That back heel can be off the ground. And I'm just bringing that knee forward and then coming back. Keep that heel on the floor. The second you go too far, you're losing the benefit of this movement. So only go as far as your heel allows you to do that. Just one more here after this one. Last one. Excellent work. Okay, now I just want to go into just those simple hip hinges, reaching back and squeezing up. Inhale as you come back. Exhale as you stand up. Inhale through your nose. Exhale as you stand up. Inhale through your nose. Exhale as you stand up. Just one more. Okay, last thing in standing until we take a seat. Now, you're going to go actually back to that staggered stance, and I want you to think about pushing your hips forward to get a stretch in the front of your hip. And then you're going to switch. I'm in that staggered stance. I'm just trying to tilt my hips forward so I get a stretch in the front of the hip of the leg that's moving back. Excellent work. So now I'm going to switch my chair around for the last movement. We're going to actually challenge a figure 4 position. So I'm going to straighten my left leg. I'm going to bring my right leg on top of my leg, and I'm going to try to move it up so I can get it above my knee. Once I get it above my knee, I can then bend that leg up. Try to let this leg relax out. The good news is you can stop anywhere along the way, depending on your flexibility. Okay, we're just practicing this movement, getting a nice stretch up in that hip area. Once you're ready, go ahead and switch. Extend that right leg out and then walk that left one up, preferably up to the point of the knee, where then you can bend the knee. Stop anywhere along the way to get a stretch. Try to sit up nice and tall. You can even bend forward a little bit as well to get a deeper stretch. We're just going to go to the other side one more time. So we'll do each side one additional time. Try to bring that leg up, bend that knee, and then you can lean forward if you can get into this position. Last time, go ahead and straighten that right leg now. Cross the left one over. See if you can get it above that knee. Bend that knee and then bend forward slightly if you can. Again, we're not forcing, we're not pushing, torquing anything. Feel a stretch and make it feel good. Okay, so you have made it through this weighted workout. I hope that you feel good after this. Go ahead and practice this a few times. Experiment with some heavier weights once you feel more confident in order to make it more challenging. I'll see you in the next video.